Okay, I've started the recording for the Junior Audubon Drawing Birds. We are joined today with Karen Sieg, and she's our artist today who's going to walk us through drawing a cardinal. To start off, I always like to start with a reading. This time I don't have a full reading, we have a little poem, but I have a few things that I want to share with you. And let's see if this will go. I'm going to share a screen and it has a cute little comic on it. You should see that comic strip. Do you see it? Okay. So that's kind of a fun little thing. And I'm going to start us off with hearing our bird of the day. Doesn't this sound like spring to you? This sounds like spring to me, but it's only January. So we won't hear these sounds just yet, but it won't be long that we hear these sounds. And the nice thing about cardinals is we do have them throughout the winter as well. So they're just a semi-migrant, they call it. Some migrate, but they really don't migrate very far. So we do have cardinals in the area in central Wisconsin throughout the year. I'm going to start us off with just a little poem, and then I'm going to turn it over, and Karen's going to walk us through our drawing of our bird. The Cardinal by Alice E. Ball. When autumn woods are bare and dead, the crested bird of cardinal red sways like the oak leaf overhead and sighs, dear, dear, dear. When winter woods are white with snow, the drifts pile high as wild winds blow. Like flame, this torch-like bird doth glow and cries, woo, woo, woo. When springtime's crimson buds appear, the red gold columbines are here. This songster welcomes the new year and sings cheer, cheer, cheer. When summer sun sheds scorched beams, the cardinal flowers beside the streams glow wild. This brilliant bird still gleams and whistles, hoo, hoo, hoo. So if we hear some of those songs, they actually have a lot of different noises they make, which is sort of fun. But the most common one that we hear is always their spring call. It is their cheer, cheer, cheer. It is their song that we most recognize in the spring. So with that, I have my red hat today. I wish I had my Mohawk. I don't have a Mohawk one, but you know, it's the closest I could get to bring us into the cardinal view. And Karen, I'm going to just pass it over to you. Welcome to those who just joined us. We just did a little bit of a reading and a little bit of listening to our cardinals. At this point, we will turn it over to Karen and you can walk us through some drawings. If you would just keep yourselves on mute. If we ask some questions, feel free to unmute yourself or ask me if you need some help. There's also the chat box you can use to put in comments, ask questions if you need for that. So there you go, Karen. Off to you.
Okay, great. Thanks. The cardinal is one of my favorite birds as well. When I was a little kid, my mom loved whistling to the cardinals and they would, kind of call back. So that was something I always remembered. She'd just be outside and they'd kind of go back and forth and back and forth. And it was a nice poem. I love that cartoon about the Mohawk. Oh my gosh. So what we're going to do is draw the male cardinal. And this is kind of what we're going towards again, but at least you have an idea of what the way we're going to draw it. It's standing on the ground. And so that's kind of where we're heading. Okay. And for you that have been on this program before, you'll know that I've really loved drawing birds, especially. Those are one of some of my favorites. And we're going to start with, I'm going to use, if you can, use a pencil. I'll try to draw a little darker so you can see the lines. But the first lines we're going to make are ones that it might be kind of nice later to try and erase them, or at least erase a little. And because there are kind of our organization lines that we make typically to draw our birds. So we usually always start with a circle. So we're going to start in the kind of the middle of your piece of paper here. And I'll try to do this really, whoops, dark, just so that you guys can see it on the screen. Okay, so I'll let you make your circle. Doesn't have to be real big. This is basically the main part of the body. So after you get your main circle going, what I'd like you to do, we're going to kind of draw what will be sort of the butt. So if you start kind of about right up on this side here, and it's you can watch me do it and then do it afterwards. I'm going to come out and just sort of like almost a half egg, and then come like under here. So it's going to kind of start, you know, kind of out up on this part here. Sometimes if you get your pencil there and then, oh, okay, that's where I'm going to start. You go out, not a whole lot far, and then you come back and meet up on the bottom. I'll give you a little bit more time to do that one just because that's now a little next step to making the body, and you want to kind of make sure that it's kind of big enough, but not too big either. Okay. All right, then the next step that we do is another circle, and this one is for the head. So we'll start, and here's where maybe if you want to put like a little line about this far out, sometimes knowing where to start and how big to circle might be something that's sort of helpful. So I just went out a little far, and then after that, then I can start making my circle from that. It gives me an idea of how far out I should make that circle. All right. Hopefully you can see that line as well. So it's just kind of on the edge, and you kind of picture, well, where would the head be on this bird? The cardinal, if you notice, here, maybe I doesn't have a very long neck. So it's doesn't have to be too big or too far out there. And then the next lines we're going to make are some, again, kind of some what I call our bearing type lines in the middle. We're going to just basically put a line in between or crisscross in the middle of that circle, because that will help us later tell where we're going to put the beak and where we're going to put the eyes. And again, if you can use this in pencil, that's great. If not, if you're using a marker, we'll just be making sure that we color over that later on. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is to draw and identify where the beak is going to go. And so with this, I'm going to start a little bit above this line here, start above it, and I'm going to come below it. So I'm going to make a little bit of a pointy beak there. And this is one thing when we're watching for birds or looking at birds, I always like to look at like their feet, look at their beaks to kind of learn more about what that bird does. Like where does it live? What does it eat? If the feet are short, you know, does it look like it hangs on to a branch, or are they real long because they walk along in the water? They have webs. Here, this kind of beak is a very big, thick beak. and that the kind of tells me that this kind of bird, a cardinal, is going to eat probably some kind of seeds or nuts because it's got a very strong big beak to crush them. All right, now we get to draw the fun Mohawk part. So we're going to come up here, and these again are just sort of, we're going to tell us where to go, and we're going to drop it down a little past this one other line. So kind of on the other side of that crisscross line. I'm giving a little bit of time to catch up. And the one thing too is when we're coloring, it's the red, the male ones are the really bright red. The females tend to be more brownish red, not have quite that vibrant. So it's always more fun to draw the males because they're very bright and colorful. Okay, so after you have that, then we're going to start making some parts of the kind of connecting the head to the body. So right up here, I'm going to basically make a line to bring this up at the top here and down to the body. Let's see, like there. And then the same way I'm going to take, so I'll give you time to do these two. Then I'm going to bring it down here as well for the chest. I don't know how, maybe some of you can let me know if maybe put in the chat box or unmute yourself if you'd like a few more, just another minute or two. I just don't want to go too fast, but it's kind of hard to tell from what I can see here. Or Susan, you can kind of let me know if you think it's kind of ready. Because right now we've got a few different lines kind of all adding up, and I want to make sure that we're allowing enough time.
I think it's good.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything that folks that we're going too fast this time, so I think we're good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next kind of landmark drawings or lines we're going to make are for the feet. And the cardinal here, so you kind of down at the bottom of the obviously here, we're going to make just one line, not too long, down, and then one line out. So this is just sort of where the feet are going to go. They have relatively shorter legs because they sit in the trees and or hop along around the ground. Okay. All right, now I think let's see, I got we want to start figuring out where the tail is going to go. This is another one of our obviously important lines. It's got a fairly long tail. So from here, I'm going to take this out and go out about that far, and then come back and like that. I'm going to make that a little darker so you guys can see it. All right, so after this, we're going to add the eye. And again, I always like to, just in case we get some new kids, because it'll be, well, maybe here, I'm going to move this up a little closer so that you just kind of want to see how it's sort of looking. You can see that a little easier. Now I'm going to draw the eye, and I'll put this a little closer here so that you can maybe see what I'm going to do. Right in here in this corner of that, your intersecting lines here, I'm going to draw a circle, just a circle. And then after you get that little circle in there, then I'm going to do what we do to make an eye and look like it's reflecting. I'm going to make another little circle in here and kind of color in. This is a bigger version of what I'm doing, but I want you to kind of be able to tell what I'm doing because it's pretty small. So I'm going to make another little circle in there and kind of color around it. And after you get that, I would say you can even make another just sort of, at this time, oh no, wait, we're not going to do that with the eye yet. I've got another thing we're going to do with the eye, but not quite yet. Next, what we're going to do is draw where the black kind of mask goes. So with this, I'm starting in the beginning here I'm starting right about here. And I'm going to kind of squiggle this. You could kind of, because it's not real exacting, kind of behind here, and then coming back, whoops, down here. So right now I'm just making a squiggly line. We're going to color it in later, but for now, just want you to identify where it's going to be. And then we also, the beak is still red, so we've got to figure out where that black feathers go. And so the squiggly line here, and I'll do this, and then I'll put it closer so you can see. Now that part might take a little bit just to kind of figure out how to make that little black mask go, kind of make sure that the beak is going to be able to stay red, and that you got that black mask though that goes kind of behind the eye and comes down a little bit like under the chin and comes up a little bit on the forehead. Now, when you're drawing this too, this is something that is really important, like when you're bird watching, is like to look for maybe what color the eyes are, what shape the beak is, how big is the bird. A lot of times they'll compare things. Is it like the size of a robin? Because a lot of people know about that size. They'll look for different kind of neat markings, like, oh my gosh, look at it, it's got a black mask kind of looking thing. Or it has a white back of the head or white on its rump. So these are things, again, that as you're drawing, this kind of helps you begin to look for different features that a bird might have, and that can help you identify it later. Okay, so I think if we got where the mask is going to go, we're going to begin doing some more of the drawing, or the actual drawing. So at this point, I might, nope, I'm going to erase, I should say, these lines. Let's try it. I'm going to just lighten them up if I can. But if you don't have an eraser or don't want to do that too much, but it'll kind of just help a little. So, and let's see. Some of these others, again, are not quite so needed. I'm just going to kind of lighten them a little. After this, the next thing we're going to do is put the wing in. Okay. 15. The wing is, we're going to start up here and kind of come around and bring it. It's going to go way down to the tail. It's about to the tail here. Okay. And then it comes up. So it's going to go way, it's quite a long, yeah. I can get that so you can see that. Okay. And then we can also do the part of the shoulder type thing. So we'll kind of make some little lines there. And then I'm just going to do this. I'm going to give you time to do this. Then we can also draw sort of the second wing on the other side behind it. So I'll bring this closer so you can kind of see what I've just done as far as the wings. I made the front one, the real long one, kind of put a little shoulder type thing. And this is where I don't know all the parts of the bird. So Susan might be able to help me on that part if I wanted to identify what kind of feathers those are. And then I added just a little bit of a, kind of like the peekaboo vision of the wing that's on the back side that we can't see the whole thing, but you can see it sort of hanging out up on top of the tail. And this is where you can see some of those guiding lines kind of help you know how close or how far away a certain line should be from, say, something the tail or the rump. Okay, I think what we'll do is maybe move on to the next step. We'll do a little bit added things here on the tail. I'm going to just kind of add some lines, a line here to kind of show that there's some different lines on that tail. 18, let's see. And we're going to start making more the feet look like feet. So I'm going to kind of, this was our guide, these were our guiding line here. So I'm going to come down and around it, and I'm just going to kind of make some squiggly things that look like a foot. And then I'm going to make another one kind of behind it. And I think that way it's just good enough to just make it look somewhat similar to the other one for now. So I better make those lines a little darker here. So here. So I'm just making it, that line that we created at the beginning, a little more wider now, so that they're looking more like feet. You can just kind of use some little squiggles there to make it look like it's got a few toes, and then that one back toe that helps it stand on or stay on a branch. Okay. I think there's just kind of one line missing. We didn't really finish the beak. So after this, I'm gonna have to get the feet done. We're gonna kind of finish the beak a little, and then we'll start putting some color on it. Okay. So on the beak, it does have a, the line here, and the beak kind of has a little bit of just a little bit of a tip that hangs over there. So we'll just make that line, but then we're going to start coloring things in, and then it'll all start looking more like the cardinal we're thinking about. So I'm going to use colored pencils, and you can use, again, a marker or a pencil, whichever, crayon. Let's see what color is this. All right, I've got different ones. So I'm going to just start with the stuff that really makes it look like a cardinal, that kind of red beak. I'm just going to start coloring it in. And then this is where, this up here, you notice on the picture of our cardinal, that it has sort of a little tuft with that mohawk. So we're going to try and do that. When we get up here, we'll just kind of make that look a little bit more like a, so you can kind of see how I'm coloring it, beginning to color it in. And again, I kind of want to add a little bit of, so it looks sort of like feathers. And for now, maybe we'll just fill in real light color over the whole thing. And then after we get some red all over it on a light level, then can start adding maybe some darker reds or press a little harder. So right now, I'm just using the side of this, and it's really, the cardinal is really all pretty much red, maybe different shades of red, but it's still, we can just sort of color this in, again, using just a basic red color for now. And we want to leave that one area that's masked. We're going to fill that in with black here in a little bit. Okay. So let's just kind of keep working on that. I'm going to take it to my shape, face me so I can color a little bit easier on myself. And actually, I will say this, as you're coloring, as we've learned before, the bottom is always going to be, or tend to be, very dark or much darker. And so you can just press either a little harder on the bottom to start making it look like, again, the light is up above it. Or you could take even a different color, maybe a more red-brown color. Let me see if I got something here. And sometimes if I'm not sure what a color is going to look like, I just color it on the side to see, oh, that's right. Because sometimes the way it is wrapped up, it doesn't really give you a good idea. So I'm just going to go a little harder with the color that I had before. Make that the bottom a little darker. And fill this in. You can also maybe kind of make some that it looks like more the feathers by making a few little lines there, and again, making those different levels. So this is just the part that is kind of fun, relaxing for me, is just to filling in things and going a little harder, going a little lighter. This is the part that's, again, for me, enjoyable. I like this part the best rather than the first part of trying to get it all to line up, because sometimes it doesn't look like what I'm trying to draw. And so I have to go back and maybe erase or something. So that's something that anybody, any artist, you're always, trying to adjust it or look at it a different way. And so it's a process. It's never, direct. You can erase, you can just crumple it up, try all over again. It's just meant to be fun. That's all. I hope you enjoy doing it, not get frustrated by it. So again, I'm just going to kind of fill in some more here. Again, Again, making them look like feathers. Now this one, the feather that's on the other side, well, that's going to be probably kind of in the shadows. So where I'm going to make that a lot darker as well. And I should probably make it darker under here because this wing is kind of shadowing underneath. So whenever, even if it's a bird you're drawing here, but if you're drawing other things, again, I always like to think, where's the light coming from? What's in the shadow? What's really bright? Maybe something needs to be darker. I'm going to keep adding some more here. It's starting to get there. And if you want to take a break from all the red, I'm going to get my just regular pencil, and I am going to color in a little bit more of this black mask. Now, even that, it doesn't have to be solid black. It's all going to be look kind of black, but I go even a little lighter. I'll go around maybe the eye and just darker on the bottom, where about by its chin, for example. But you probably still want to color it in with at least some level of gray there, or the black. But see, that's where just because something is, let's say, red or black, doesn't mean it has to be solid. That's where pressing a little lighter or a little harder will change the way that looks, and that's part of exploring with your drawing as well. Okay. And I'm going to maybe go to the feet, and then we can all just kind of keep coloring, filling more in. But with this, the feet, I'm going to make them more of a brown, and just sort of filling those in. And I'm just going to color it in completely. And then afterwards, I can decide if I want to make it a little darker or little, put a different color in even. So like the back foot, I might even take another darker brown. I've got to make sure I got a right color. Let's see. Nope, that one's a little too purpley. I grabbed a variety of colored pencils and I didn't really always check, but I'm just going to make this a little darker anyway. And they're going to be a little darker up at near the body, because again, they're kind of in the shadows. And those little dark things like that are the things that really start making any drawing look more real and really add that pop. And I was like, oh, wow, look at that. It makes put some dimensions or on whatever it is you're trying to draw. So it's like, looks more three-dimensional and not just flat on it as a drawing. So those little extra dark lines, like right there, see, making that really dark there, that sure helps that make it look darker. Maybe I'll do the same thing like under this wing. Let's see here. I'm making that line a little darker. Now we're just kind of. Go back and get some more red because I don't think the cardinal's red enough yet. Gotta fill in more. Yeah, that mohawk looked pretty red compared to the rest of the head. So I'm going to make my cardinal's head a little bit more red. Again, so this part really, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of instructions in a way because you just have to keep, adding to it. But I am gonna, just show that when you're drawing, if you, again, keep drawing a little darker, heavier, push harder, on the bottoms, and then lighten up in other areas, it's going to start looking, again, to have some dimension. Like here now, I think, maybe that's a little too, and I should have made that a little more rounded, but I think it's still looking pretty much like a cardinal. And make it red. You could also sometimes, like on here, like you could make it little things to make it look more like feathers, make these edges a little more rough. That's something else you can add, especially for birds. It's not a very, always a sharp, hard line. It has feathers. And so softening these edges is something else that you could kind of do to make it look a little more fluffy. And the tail, like you can maybe make that not so just rounded at the end, that maybe there's some different feathers, a lot of different feathers in the tail. So maybe you can make that look a little longer and different shapes in the bottom. And as you're coloring, I think, we did also something that is nice to do with a drawing is to put some perspective of where the bird is, and said that this one's going to be, obviously standing. I'm going to add just some, just something like it's standing on the ground. And this is very, can be kind of anything you want to put in there. I'm just using, again, the side of a pencil, but just put something on the ground. And this is, again, if you want to keep working on this drawing, you could add all kinds of stuff on the ground. Put some, the grass or whatever you want, or, is it a winter scene? Is it a summer scene? So, but it's good to put something along here or around it so that you can kind of tell where the cardinal is. And maybe that goes for the background too. If you wanted to keep drawing, you could put some more things about the type of environment the cardinal lives in. Often there's, a lot of trees around the area. And so that's something else you can do. Does anyone have any questions about, the drawing? Because at this point, it's kind of just filling it in and having fun with it. I think got the main things about its black mask, it's Mohawk, it's red colors. It's kind of a size of a robin, shape of a robin, and it doesn't have a very long neck, and it doesn't have very long legs. And I think those are, and it's got a very kind of blocky, chunky beak.
Wow, let's see your birds if you want to show them. Ooh, Joy, I like your addition of the little seeds that perhaps it's eating. Todd, that's very nice. I like the use of color there. That's a very nice dark mask. And Della, those are pretty. And oh, wow. These are great.
No, I put it on grid view so I can see what people have done.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My black pencils, it didn't work. So I had to use dark gray, but I'll keep working on that one.
Oh my gosh, great job, everybody. I hope you were having fun doing it. Again, if, it's a process. It's supposed to be fun. Don't get frustrated, just enjoy it. And I'm so thankful for that you guys like to keep coming here and watching and learning about birds and learning how to draw. For me, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, these are great. Does anyone have any questions? Well, I hope you had a good time with it. I hope you take this to your parents and you lead a drawing with them of a cardinal. I hope next time you see a cardinal, you see it in just a little bit different way. We are going to continue these Drawing with Bird programs. Our next one is coming up on March 10th. We don't have the bird yet. Maybe we'll send out a little poll and find out what people want to do. And we also have one coming up on May 12th. If anyone is interested in diving into the sea, next week, our normal Audubon programs, we have a program on diving into the heart of the coral reef or the coral triangle. One of our board members, Karen Dostal, she took some amazing footage on a scuba diving trip she did a couple years ago, and she's going to share with us about some of the issues with coral reefs and do a program. And that is next week on January 20th. It is at 7 p.m. Again, that's open to the public. You're going to see more. It's less interactive than this. It's not directed just for the junior Audubon. It's for anybody. So, but if that's interest to you and you want to learn and see what it's like diving under the sea, you're welcome to join that program too. Again, that's January 20th at 7 p.m. And we will resume these programs. March 10th is the next one. I hope you join us then. All right, let's give a round of applause to Karen for joining us. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sieg. We really appreciate it. This is so wonderful to have you guide us and turning us into these great artists. So
Again, I'm so thankful for you guys, and thank you, Susan, for organizing this. So thank you. Right back.
This will be recorded and made available. I will send out a link when it's available, so you can show your parents, show your cousins, show some friends, and do another session with others if you'd like. All right, have a good day.
Bye-bye.